All right, are we here? All right, folks. Will Bitcoin ever go up again? Well, shortly here, we're going to get to talking about it. If you're not watching this live, make sure you put it in 1.25x or 1.5x and save yourself some time. Because life's too short. Got to get that information, but you also got to live. Got to use that information, you know what I'm saying? But if you are watching it live and you got any questions, pop them in the chat, and we'll get to them here. We're going to start in about 1 minute, I think. Let's get going here, about 1 minute. Boom, boom, boom. How's everybody doing today? Little intro diddle. Do. What a beaut. Just a little piano to start us off. All right, let's get serious. Let's get serious here. Oh, roll that intro, bro. Roll that.
Nope, don't have ya.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Oh,
There you go.
dang! The piano threw me off. I thought I was. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, hey, folks! Welcome back to Surely Sound Studio. My name is Martin. You can call me Marty. This is my show. Let's go. Okay. AK. Now we got AK here. Now we got me. So
Yeah.
we can start the show.
Here we go.
Folks, today we're going to talk about, well, question that someone asked me earlier this week. Is Bitcoin ever going to go up again? We're also going to talk about a lot of the stuff going on in the media. Probably not try and talk too much about it because it is just really an illusion and it's just meant to distract you. But we're just going to kind of go over some of the things and some of the facts to prove that stuff. And but first, of course, we're going to go into some Bitcoin charts here. And let's start off by going into Bitcoin on the daily. Excuse me. And I also want to mention we are going to look into the Canadian dollar a little bit because there is something going on with the Canadian dollar right now that I feel should be addressed. So we're going to get into that too. Make sure you stick around, folks. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the fun stuff. Tell your mom about the show if she needs somewhere to, go for 20 minutes or a half an hour or an hour. I don't know. We're going to come to you about an hour. But anyways, let's go. Bitcoin, folks. Is it going to go up again? Well, let's go on the daily here. Right now in the short term, money looks like it's flowing in to Bitcoin. As you can see here, when we were in the red and money was flowing in, let's get the trusty pencil. We were coming down, and then money was flowing up. Whoop. And then we did come down a little bit here, and this is nice. This is where we look for a trade as money flow is coming up and the price is going down, because we can anticipate that something like this is going to follow as money flow comes up into the green. And then vice versa, when we are up here and money flows in the green and coming down, well, then we can anticipate the lackluster highs and the continuation of the downtrend. And when you're in a bear market, folks, you'll see quick moves down, slow grinds up, quick moves down. So you can probably pretty much expect about the same thing happening over the next week or two. A slow grind up. Maybe we come up to 71K. There's a nice high volume node here, come back down. Maybe we come all the way up to here, value area high, value area low, POC, value area high. This is the agreed value of Bitcoin at the current moment right now in the last month or so. So this right now, Bitcoin's on sale, considering the last few months of price action. So we also have inefficiencies up in here, low volume gaps. The market will likely, because there's probably a lot of people who are taking short positions and took short positions all the way down through here. And the market's just going to slowly liquidate their shorts. And they're probably going to be like adding to it. And then what you should do is look for shorts up in here. This is where we're looking for shorts. Not looking, and I mean, if we get caught under here and we start to see money flow coming out, man, you could look for a small short down here. But with money flow the way that it's going, I'd be looking for longs. I took a long yesterday off the retest of the POC. I already closed it. Just took a quick 4% on a Saturday. Not a bad day. But ultimately, Sundays and Mondays are kind of the price action that I like to wait for, because that's the kind of price action that just basically liquidates the weekend traders. And so we'll let the weekend traders get liquidated or stopped out or whatever. We'll watch to see where the liquidity sweep comes from. I would love to see us actually come down here and do a little sweep of these lows, but then make a lower. Like, it'd be amazing if by Monday we're down here again, 60K. That would be sweet. Then we'd be looking for a nice long, because then we have Ulo, Edulo, Ahulo here. It's a nice bottoming structure right there, if that holds. And then you have a small risk to reward here if you're putting in a trade or putting in a position here, because you can enter somewhere around here. You'd be aiming for up in here somewhere. You could take profits along the way, but you don't really want to be too committed to this trade if we start losing these lows. So, what do you got there? It's a pretty good risk to reward. If you ask me, that's something that I'm going to be looking for. Basically just kind of buying dips, really looking for, bottom. This is a daily time frame. You can see something very similar on the 15 or the 5 minute for a good entry for a long, because money flow's coming up right now. So wouldn't surprise me if we continue to go higher, slow grind for the next short term. Okay, now this is where we got to start paying attention here, because that's what the next few weeks you should be thinking about the next few years. And for that, we are going to go out to let's go to the weekly time frame, because the question was, is Bitcoin ever going to go up again? Now, I'm assuming that person, I guess probably hasn't looked at a chart. Maybe they have, but
charts are amazing.
Charts are where it's at.
They hold all the information you ever need.
Charts have the answer. They always do. What is it? Good science is good. Can't remember, something like that. This is charting history. Well, let's go on a different chart. What this is only goes back to 2023. Let's get the big guy. The index, the overall index. Our trusty box chart. So basically, we are about right here. So this is kind of what I expect for the next few months. These are weekly candles. So I would expect us to come back up a little bit, but not make a higher high. So come back up a little bit, not make a higher high before coming down. And maybe, I don't even know if we're going to get it into this box here. It's starting to look like we got a big green dot about to print here on the weekly. Money flow is already starting to curve up down here too, which is surprising for me, actually. We see the last or 2 cycles ago, we come down into the red a fair bit, but not too much. But then we come down on the last cycle into the red a little bit more. Now this time we didn't get into as much of the green as we did in the past 2. So, you know, a little red wave here, and we've already got bullish divergence on the RSI, which means the price made a lower low, but the strength made a higher low. And that's exactly what we saw here. Now, if you didn't count this wick, you maybe had a double bottom and like almost one forming here before we had another one that was like, okay, still completely confirmed. That would make a lot of sense here as well, especially if we did something like this and held this trend line on the weekly, but the price came down for one more big shakeout. That would be, and what we'd like to see, what would cause the RSI to do that is a drop and then a quick buyback all in one candle, because it's all, the RSI is all about where the candle closes. So when you see a bullish or a bearish divergence, it's because the dip got bought up really quickly or the pump got sold off really quickly. And that's kind of what you look for strength going up or going down into when you're looking for bottoms, looking for tops. So pretty much like if you go back and look at the history of Bitcoin, every time people are like, is Bitcoin ever going to start again? Or is it ever going to go up again? According to this cycle, we're like somewhere around here. Well, I guess we already crossed into the red. Kind of came back up. I don't know. No 2 cycles are going to be the same. They're going to rhyme potentially, but they're not going to repeat. Everything's different. Also, you have to remember that this is priced in US dollars, which is subject to inflation. The inflation rate is trending up overall. We've had peaks and valleys. It's come down a little bit since 2022, but if you still look at the overall trend going back 50 years, we are just making a higher low, which will likely follow a higher high. Unfortunately, something you do not want to hear, but that's simply based on math and money printing and government spending. Most of all, the more they spend, the more they print, because they don't collect anywhere near as much tax dollars as money they spend. Now, a lot of the money that they spend, it doesn't even get spent, it just gets stolen. You might want to do some research for yourself about that one. But either way, it doesn't matter because it's going to affect the money supply. And when you have something that they're continuously adding to, it devalues it. Therefore, inflates away. So more money printing equals asset prices will go up. All of them. Anything that's hard, a house, tools, Bitcoin, assets of all kinds will continue to rise in price. Everything that you buy, everything that you consume will continue to rise in price because fiat currencies go to zero. The US dollar has lost 6% of its purchasing power in the last 2 years, I do believe. Maybe even less. Maybe that was 6 months? No. I read it somewhere, I can't remember, but it's not good, folks, and it's not going to get any better. Long term, you're going to want to accumulate assets of whatever kind. That's up to you. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say or do should ever be taken as financial advice, but I can kind of tell you what I'm feeling, and I can kind of show you what I've been doing, and I can tell you it's pretty great. It's a good side of the fence to be on.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that...
Well, I mean, hell, go buy Coca-Cola stocks then. I'm sure your money is safe in Coke.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You
I
know?
mean, you just gotta, they're not going to teach this in school. Unfortunately, you got to pay tens of thousands of dollars to go to to get financial education. And it's really so simple. Like you don't need,
Well, I mean, you can go online and get educated for $1,000 pretty quick and easy.
oh, absolutely.
You-
Absolutely. But like,
know,
even
you don't need to. This is what people seem to misunderstand. They think they need to go to a school, pay them to be taught what they can go learn for free
Scam.
on the internet or a textbook,
Yeah.
or have their own opinion on the subject rather than be told what to think about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Get as much information as you can, and then definitely think for yourself. Like I think Bitcoin's great. I talk about it all the time. But I shorted it. I sold it when we were over leveraged. When it just, the capital rotation was about to happen. Everyone was going into AI stocks. I took advantage of it, and I've been taking advantage of it. Now, guess what? AI is about to fall apart. We don't have enough energy. We don't have enough this. All the companies are selling chips that aren't even, or buying chips that aren't even made, or blah 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 blah. Like just a bunch of, it's absolute chaos, and it's all speculation. And so it's going to not necessarily pop, but it's deflating, and it's going to deflate for probably another 3 years while the infrastructure gets built up. Okay, because technology like that, although this is the fastest growing technology we've ever had, it's still growing too fast for its own good, and we can't keep up with the infrastructure to maintain it. So it's going to cool off for a bit. Capital is going to rotate out of it, and it's not going to go back into the US dollar. Although the yields are getting high on the bonds, they're trying to incentivize people to hold money with the States. But the thing is like, people are realizing that the time is coming to an end. It doesn't really have much left in the tank. Everything that it just did, and that goes for everything. Like everything, the financial, the military. Unfortunately, if you look at the charts, if you look at the statistics, they're running low on pretty much everything. So,
why do you think they,
especially intelligence.
Why do you think they talk about merging countries now?
There's plenty of smart people.
Both our currencies are collapsing, so you might as well join together and figure something new out.
Yeah. See, unfortunately, though,
in a dumb way, right? Oh, we're gonna buy them. Just no, we're all screwed here.
Yeah,
might as well
we're all in the same boat. The central banks are ruining everything, and they have been for a long time, and they have no intention of fixing it because it's working fantastic for them. When everyone's like, "Oh, who are we in debt to? 30 million, 30 trillion, 40 trillion dollars. Who are we in debt to?" It's like, you're in debt to the people who bought the bonds. You're in debt to the people who created the money and charged the interest. That's the central bankers. So it's like. It's ridiculous.
So really,
Think about how much money they have.
It's all just BS that they create to say, guess what? We own you.
Exactly, right? Capitalism, capital controls. So the thing is, though, is like with technology, we have other options. And I mean, there's always been other options. You could always, you've always been able to just like go far away from civilization and start homesteading on some land. You've kind of always been able to do that, but now it's like, you don't have to do that to exit the system. You can still participate in the system, but don't have the effects of inflation and these people robbing you of everything that you have to do it. So you can study Bitcoin and figure out why it was even invented in the first place and how it can help you long term. Okay, for instance, most people understand that the price of a house has gone up substantially in the last 10 years. And they can understand that because they can see it, I guess. It's a real world asset, something. But the thing is that a house should just be a home to live in. It shouldn't be something that you are storing your value in to then loan, to take loans off of. And you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be used as a financial asset.
You should be living off of it, not paying somebody else to own it.
Yeah. It shouldn't be used as a financial asset. It doesn't make any sense. So when we see housing prices come down, like we have in China recently and South Korea, a lot of things are going on over there because they seem to be a little bit over leveraged, but also you have to remember that they can't just print their own money. So things they are handcuffed to the central banks. And so the Federal Reserve can print their own money, so they buy the bailouts, right? Too big to fail. It's like that's not a free market, by the way. Just so you know, like if they're too big to fail, it's not a free market, and it's like you need to let them fail. Failure is great. Failure is how you learn. You do not learn from winning.
How many times have you seen bailouts in our lifetime alone?
Oh, it's bad.
Since we even graduated, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's bad. And so you know it's never going to stop, because it'll only stop once people stop using that system. And it's happening. Bitcoin adoption is increasing every single day. We're seeing more and more people on the network. It's been a constant uptrend since inception, and it's not going to stop, because they are not going to stop doing what they are doing, and they're screwing over these countries that have been poor before this even all started. And so they've got nothing to lose, and it's those people that usually tend to end up benefiting from a risk, because it was do or die for them. So they had no choice but to take the risk. But guess what? The risk was actually the best thing that they ever did. And for the rest of the people, they try and, tell themselves, oh, it's getting worse, but I can do, it's not that bad. And it's like, man, I just went to Vancouver last week. Oh my, it was bad. It was bad. Remember, I was in Seattle a couple of weeks ago. I was great, man. Seattle was fun. It was awesome. Food was good.
It's
People
a
were
lot
good.
better than Vancouver.
Vancouver was dirty. It was gross, man.
Disgusting.
It was gross. And it was just like, man, this is embarrassing. Truly embarrassing. And I mean, I like Mayor Kim, but bro, you got to get moving with some of your. I mean, he's got the right idea of things to do, but he's got to get doing it. We got to stop with the free drugs thing, man. There was like these safe injection sites or whatever everywhere, and there's just crowds of zombies all bent over and like shitting, and it's just like, what is happening here?
You know what's crazy is it's like you have them all round up in one place. Deal with the problem.
I just don't understand it. Like, why are you like, oh, that person needs help? So that's how you help them? That's how you help them.
Well,
let them just
the children, right?
Let them just lay on the concrete. Oh, it's okay. He got his drugs out.
Play in the streets like we used to.
Like what? What? Oh no, definitely don't go playing in the streets in Vancouver, man. It's brutal. Even some of the like nicer parts of town, it's still gross. It's still not nice. They just, the mentality over there, nobody really cares. Nobody's cleaning up. It's always somebody else's problem. No one's going to take responsibility for anything. So it's like, and that's the mentality. That's what the current administration is doing. They're trying to get you to lower your standards. That's the whole point. It's not, they're not trying to do better. They want you to lower your standards. That's what they're trying to do. It's like, bro, are you serious? No, I'm not lowering my standards. I'm going to freaking hold you accountable. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I try and tell other people what's going on, and they do with it what they will, but it's like, I'm going to, ultimately take care of myself and my family by positioning myself properly for the unjust,
the inevitable outcome that is coming.
It's like, it's brutal.
And just wait until it does come, and you hear everyone bitching and whining and complaining how hard it is, and you're going, why is my life continuing to get better throughout all of this?
Yeah, because the fiat currencies go downhill and make everybody and everything worse, right? Like you look at even just like water fountains and sculptures and doors and just like things like that were made in the 40s, 50s. Things are so cool, and art now everything's just straight, square, box, white. Like it's not because it's funny how they make it see like that's trending. Oh yeah, it's trending. It's like, it's not trending. People don't like that. They just can't do anything anymore, and they don't have the money to do it or the time, because they're being choked, right? Everything's going downhill, but they're like, oh no, it's trending. It's like, it's not. That's not why that's happening, you moron. Like, come on, man. It's you're being forced into the corner, and and the walls are coming in slowly and slowly and slowly, and you're like, oh yeah, it's cool, it's trending, Like, what, bro? Come on, man. Give your head a shake.
Used to live versus how it is now. It's absolutely insane. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they were all pretty much similar, just slight growth. But somewhere along the lines, they just went, everything needs to be small, square boxes, put up fast and cheap. Everybody's home used to have a character. You used to have something special about it.
Hundreds of years ago, they would have been rioting in the streets, guns and all, take them down, start again. It's happened over and over again. This time they're really trying to not have it happen. But I mean, ultimately technology is going to replace them at this point anyways, because we don't even have to do anything. You opt out of the system. Even AI itself is like, yeah, your government's corrupt, bud. Like, it's funny because I talk about it. It's like, yeah, well, you have to write your lobbyists and do all these things. Like it tells you what you have to do on paper, right? Because like the way that the government's set up is like, if you ever want to do anything, you have to write letters and make phone calls, and like it would take your entire life to try and do stuff like this, and it's never gonna work. Like, hold please, or send it in by mail, and we'll send you our response in the mail. It's like, no, man.
No, it's all like I said, it's all out there in that CIA document from the 40s on how to sabotage a country from the inside by making everyone dumb, making a whole bunch of committees. Basically a whole bunch of, I mean, what politics
using
is
guilt
right now.
Using guilt. It's just, and shaming people.
Do anything because it's blocked by all these paywalls and all these politicians and so forth, and then you just get defeated and go, screw it, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, well, they're just squeezing the money. It's like the whole thing was designed for money laundering. The whole thing, and
it's not like they came here to be like, oh, let's go make everybody's lives better.
Well, I think a certain group of people did.
As much as we can.
A certain group of people did, but then the same people that they were trying to get away from just came over here and started manipulating, right? Yeah. Like these entities have century-long plans, multi-century plans, So it's like, and if you can't fathom the fact that that's possible, then you got to start thinking in a different way, because your civilization has been around for thousands of years. Your planet has been around for millions of years. You have to understand that the existence that we are in is a whole lot bigger than you, a whole lot bigger than you can even really imagine. So
and your 80-year time on here is not like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So I saw so much. You understand there are families and generations that have actually passed down knowledge over these hundreds of years that have not been passed down through yours.
Absolutely.
Or any of ours.
Absolutely. And then deliberately manipulated and erased from only telling you what they want you to know. It's been completely carved and sculpted to the way they want it. But if you kind of I like to say, just give your head a shake and look around a bit, you can kind of be like, no. It's like, you're like,
it doesn't add up. Something's weird about this.
Now get over here so I can stab you. Dude, we can totally outrun this guy. No, I'm not coming over there. You don't have to do that. But that's a Tenacious D Pick of Destiny reference if you didn't get it, but you should check the movie out. It's good. But yeah, ultimately back to the Bitcoin price here, man. Like, it looks good for a little bit of a relief rally, I'm going to say, but the weekly candle doesn't look very good. And we're about to close here in about 5 hours. That is not a good weekly candle. Look at that. Hammered right back down. So who knows? Maybe we come up into here. Looks like some strong resistance up here in the 68K range, 69K range.
Wow.
But
there we are.
But long term, like, you're gonna, at this point, with money flowing up on the daily, bullish divergences on the weekly, like at this point we're buying dips. Don't get over leveraged, because that's what they want you to do. There's a high chance still that we see one more big shakeout, and we come down and we see our Bitcoin's dead by aggressively box. Not financial advice. But we've been waiting for this box for a long time. We got pretty close to it down here when we hit 57. But it would just make a lot of sense if we just came down for one more low. But it's gonna be, it's gonna take some time. Like, we could very well make another significant high.
We got another month till September, and then October.
We got another 2 months, two months or so, 2-3 months before, typical bottom. And actually, let's have a look at, let's see. So in long term, right, it's like Bitcoin is 0.4% of global financial assets, right? And there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and we're talking about $342 trillion worth of assets. Right now, there's only $1.3 trillion, $5 trillion roughly in Bitcoin, right? So it'll obviously, like a black hole,
I mean, what would that
it
even make
will
it?
take up everything. But we're going to look at the Canada stuff. There was one more. Oh, no, maybe I went the wrong way. There you go. This is, pretty accurate. If you take all the cycles of the past and you cut them up into the years and what they've done, this is what you get. So we have done a very similar pattern 3 times now, which was why I was expecting this when it happened, just simply going off of past performance. And so now, what do you think is going to happen? Past performance, likely going to happen. And honestly, with this, the Clarity Act and all that coming into law, there is going to be a lot more money than has ever been considered for Bitcoin is about to go in. When exactly doesn't really matter at this point. It hasn't yet. So if you want something, if you want to benefit from it, you have to be in before everybody else. That's kind of how the Ponzi scheme works, right? You got to remember everything's a Ponzi scheme.
Give you a shot to get in at the base level, right? You'd probably be like, "Oh, this is stupid. Who's going to use the internet to search and do all this?"
Well, exactly.
You're like, we have dictionaries.
Yeah. Well, and that's just how everything works, right? Like eventually, at first it doesn't make sense, but some people are like, "I'll check it out," and then when the technology is better and it's becoming more efficient for the people that are using it and making their lives easier and better, it's like it's just a matter of time before people are like, "Oh yeah, totally." And for some reason, I don't really get it, but there's like a big stigma with Bitcoin about people just admitting that they were wrong. It's like, man,
yeah, I know.
Like people can't get over.
There's a big stigma about a lot of people admitting they were wrong about a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. But this one, like other things, I don't know. I don't think anything as significant as this because the root of all the problems is the money. Doesn't matter what your problem is, whether you're talking about it's the money. It all boils down to the money. The money is not broken because it works the way they want it to work, but it's just you're misinformed about how it's supposed to work. And they tell you and encourage you to use it the broken way, which doesn't make any sense. Oh, keep your money in a bank, right? Like,
and
what?
I would be upset too, and I kind of am a little upset.
Oh yeah.
I think we were like fresh out of high school or just in high school when Bitcoin came out, and if I had just spent $1 rather than spending the next 20 years working, I'd be retired right now.
Yeah.
Off that $1 versus, listening, oh, go get you that 35-year career and that pension and do all that. If I'd spent $1 back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
$1.
You'd have 100 Bitcoin.
Right? Yeah. Well, and we'd be having a completely different conversation.
It's so funny too, though, because
much work over 20 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my body's broken. I can't move.
Yeah.
And, so think about it, in another 20 years, what is $10,000 going to be worth?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. If you think about what you just said, $1 25 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever it was, would have retired you today. That's just a perfect example of your money losing purchasing power. If you were able to go back in time and get that $1, you wouldn't have to work now. Off of $1, what was it, 15 years ago? What year is it right now? 2026?
Yeah, like what are we, 2026 and 2008? Yeah, 2008 or something, 2009.
Yeah.
You could buy it.
So 18 years. It's like,
that's insane, dude. So rather than going out and being like, oh, thank God for my 35-year pension that barely pays me anything.
Yeah,
I could have spent $1 18 years ago.
Meanwhile,
for generational wealth.
Meanwhile, that whole time that you are DCAing into that pension fund, they're using it to trade and make money off of, and then only giving you a certain percent.
That's what really ended up pissing me off when I figured out about pensions and things like that. And I was like, man, 30 years of work just to get paid that? Well, how are they, like, they're obviously using my money to make a ton more.
Absolutely.
Why am I not being paid that? I don't want them to control it. I
Yeah.
want control.
Yeah. There's a reason why Bitcoin and all this stuff was invented, is because it wasn't working out. So someone was like, huh, well, you know what? I don't like that,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do something about it. But I want to see the VIX. We'll get into this actually in a bit here. When the VIX starts to go up, those are always the good opportunities to buy. And so we haven't really seen much of a spike in the VIX lately, but we'll be keeping an eye on that. I got some alerts set. But the one thing that was going on with the Canadian dollar, let's look at that. Let's look at the Canadian dollar here. Well, 91% more since 2004.
That's nuts.
Canada has printed 91. Often people ask me this, and I just say 100% more, because it's pretty damn close, especially when you're talking with numbers this big. But actually, 91% more money than the United States. And the United States has printed what everybody knows. They're $40 trillion in debt. They've printed a lot of money. Now, Canada isn't in that much debt.
Canada's the size of California in
Yeah.
population.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Canada's a bigger country, but yeah, on geological, I guess. But
yeah, geologically we are. Population-wise, California outweighs us. So if we became part of the U.S., we don't even hold as much voting power as them.
No.
New York has more people.
Yeah.
Like, we're a big land mass with tons of natural resources, but population-wise, I wouldn't.
Message. Yeah. So the reason why Canada's housing, first of all, is one thing that a lot of people can see, and groceries and everything's more expensive because of this graph right here. And substantially, you can tell, like, everybody knows that, okay, things were slowly getting more expensive, but wages were going up too. And then in 2020, everything got screwed and everything got more expensive. And for the first few months, the first 6 months, maybe even a little more of 2020, everyone was like, oh, this is great. I just stay home and get paid by the government. And then you're never, like, none of that was free. None of that was free. The hangover for that 6 to 8 months is going to last 6 to 8 years. It's brutal. And so if you're asking yourself, is Bitcoin going to go up? It's like, well, first of all, what currency are you valuing it in? And second of all, pay attention to whether these guys continue to print money or not. And just judging by this graph, they've tried to. The United States tried to do this when they started selling the balance sheet. They tried to. Banks started failing because you're talking about raising interest rates and people having to pay 100 or 2 or 300% more interest on their premium month over month. Like, that's unsustainable. People start falling apart. People foreclose, right? The system starts to fall very, very quickly. Very, very quickly.
People I work with have that problem with their housing, man. They can't afford the mortgage anymore because their paycheck doesn't cover it because interest rate. They over leverage them, right? Everybody thought, interest rates are always going to stay down at this. No,
well,
they can't.
Interest rates are historically low right now, but the 2.25% that we have here in Canada is, like, anytime you make a move when you're around a 1 or a 2%, like, because 1% to 2% is a 100% increase. 2% to 2.5% is a 25 or a 12% increase, 25% increase if you go up 50 basis points or whatever, right? The percentage of the move is what is causing that, because that is your payment. Your payment moves up by that much.
They don't teach that in school.
No, but if you were, for instance, if we were able to climb up, it'll never happen again now, but like back when they were in the 7, 8, 9, 10%, when the numbers were higher, the moves were a smaller percentage. So now that the numbers are low, we've fallen into this trap that we'll never be able to get out of. And it was by design. Again, they want you to lower your standards. They're not here to try and make things better. They're here to make you lower your standards, and they're trying to justify you and guilt you into doing it. And it's like, bro, beat it. Like, no.
I would much rather be paying 16% interest on a $70,000 house than 3.5, 4% on $1 million house.
Multi-million dollar house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's, you know, talk to your grandparents or whatever if they're still around. They'll tell you what they bought their first house for and their
Yeah.
interest rate and
My
what
grandpa
they were
built.
making. And you look at that and you're like, wow, well, actually, percentage wise, you guys had a great life. Wow.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to give out some rough numbers. But I was pretty sure I was told that my grandpa built their family house of, geez, I guess it was 7 kids for $10,000.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
that's a long time ago, but just
Oh,
that's how it works, right? That's the perspective. That number might not be completely accurate or perfect, but it's close, I'm pretty sure. Either way, though, it's like that's just the trend. And if you had to understand trends, don't follow trends. Understand trends and figure out where they're going to go. And when people say things are trending on social media, stay away from those trends. Those are the trends you want to stay away from. You want to understand economic trends if you want to, capitalize in capitalism. But the Canadian dollar is now the most bearish it's been in 2 years. So these are contracts held by leveraged funds in a short position. So that's people shorting the Canadian dollar. So these people are shorting the Canadian dollar. Let's see, the last time we had this was October, so maybe August 2024. If we go to the Canadian dollar and we go to August 2024, we were right here. And it actually went up after we had maximum amount of short positions. So this is take this information for as you will, but it actually ended up going up almost 4% after the hedge funds shorted. So keep that in mind. Liquidity. And then it went up October, and then January it came back again. People started shorting in January. And so January is November. Oh no, get out of here. Get out of here. January is right here. So people were shorting again when it was down. So this is actually a sign that the Canadian dollar could be at a local bottom. Now, that would coincide perfect because the United States is also looking at a local bottom where they're at. That would sort of coincide with a pump back up, which would strengthen the Canadian dollar a few percent, which would then push Bitcoin down a few percent, which would kind of give us that box that we were talking about and looking for. So everything's kind of really lining up for there to be a little bit of relief in this fiat currency simply because people are shorting it. So they're adding liquidity to the upside, which means they're putting in a short position saying they're selling here with a contract to buy back at a lower price is what they're going for, and then they will make money on the difference. However, if the price goes up, at some point they will be margin called, in which case that will create a buy because their contract, whether the price is higher or lower when they opened it, is to buy back. Contract trading, short positions, your contract is you will enter. If you sell, you have to buy back. If you buy, you will sell. That's what contract trading is all about. So with hedge funds shorting, and they're doing it with your retirement money, by the way, shorting the Canadian dollar, they're putting liquidity up here for the market to come and grab because they're saying, I will buy Canadian dollars at a higher price than it is right now because they are betting on the price to go down. They want the price, they want to buy back lower, but the contract has a liquidation level, a liquidation price, and that's an order on the book. So the market knows that these people are willing to buy at a loss. So therefore, short term, there's a good chance that the Canadian dollar will make a bit of an uptick, maybe for the next few months. It won't be long-lived because you can see that we're ultimately still just kind of going sideways, but if you really want to get into it, it's on a massive downtrend because all fiat currencies are. We're kind of just holding strong here a little bit, liquidating some positions before continuing to move down, but every single time we come up, it's like, okay, you can't hold up for long. And so interest rates, printing, every time they print, it goes down. So what they're going to try and do is hold off, and it even looks like money flow is kind of coming up a little bit too. This is on the weekly time frame, so we could be up, we could be back up here at home, the green line. Remember our 200 moving average. We could be back up here in 2 months. Very well could be back up here 2 months. The Canadian dollar could easily rise another 2% in value, 2.5% in the next few months. That would make complete sense according to this chart. Look at this graph. Okay, so that could happen. That would line up perfectly for our Bitcoin to come down a little bit more. And because, the US, it's ultimately US dollars that most people, or that drives the economy here. So this is kind of what we really want to pay attention to. But for those who are interested in the Canadian content, there's some for you. I never pay attention to the Canadian dollar because when I'm pricing anything, I use two of the world reserve currencies, and that's the United States dollar and Bitcoin. Those are the only two things you need to price things in at the moment. Eventually, it will just be Bitcoin. Right now, though, US dollar and Bitcoin, they're transitioning. Bitcoin's coming in to be the new leader of the financial world. So you're going to want
to... eventually, one Bitcoin will be worth so many, whatever Canada's using and whatever the US is using, every country will have a different value of what one Bitcoin is basically worth.
Every country will have their own, they'll have their own digital currency that you will be valuing, that will be backed by Bitcoin. If they're smart. Now, if they're not smart, they're going to try and have a digital currency that's backed by whatever else they're trying to hold on to, and it's not going to work. No, there's going to be no hard asset. It's just going to be a Ponzi scheme. Even worse of a Ponzi scheme, I should say. But it's like, if they try to do that, people are just going to continue to use Bitcoin because it's better. Like, you cannot compete with Bitcoin. The only thing that you can do is use it as your roots and build on top of it. You cannot, like, people have messaged me, send me these things like, oh dude, is this going to be the next Bitcoin? No, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to look at it. Like, no.
Nothing will be the next Bitcoin.
No.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and there's nothing there will never be another Bitcoin. There won't. It just doesn't work like that.
The best thing to do to learn that is get into other things.
Yeah.
And figure them out. Get into something else for a year and be like, oh, you know what? My Bitcoin performed better. Bitcoin's a little more stabilized than these other ones. And it just, you will end up seeing why.
Yeah. Bitcoin, that's the thing. It's funny because some people even say like, oh, Bitcoin's too volatile. It's like, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's the least volatile thing ever. What's volatile is the US dollar. What's volatile is every fiat currency because it's over leveraged and it's printed and interest is owed on it that doesn't exist. So they continue to have to print more. Whereas there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So one Bitcoin will always be one Bitcoin. Yeah. Now, what you can get for that one Bitcoin will change based on your fiat value and people agree on a free market of what things are worth. But ultimately, Bitcoin is the most stable currency we have ever seen in our entire lives and will ever see in our entire lives. It's
never produced a false transaction, and it can, the halvings.
Yeah.
The halvings are great. When more is coming out and what's going on and everything else. It's wonderful.
It's all open source, which means you can see and I can see and everybody can see everything that happens and is supposed to happen and how it works and all of that. So anything like, for instance, your government is not open source. They openly have closed door meetings, ironically.
Yeah.
But it's like, Bitcoin's not like that. If you want to, which I highly recommend, you take the time and study Bitcoin. You can, once you see everything and understand everything, it's like, okay, we're good. It's like, it's a good handshake. Okay, it's a good deal. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. Because everybody gets to see everything. It's fully transparent. There's no decisions that are going to be made without you or anything like that you're not going to know about and all that type of stuff. It's like, it just works. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't care. Right? It doesn't care about manipulation. It doesn't care about, its own self. It doesn't care about, there's no people that are running it, and they're
Yeah,
you know,
there's no
being greedy.
behind the scenes that's going to be like, oh, well, what are we going to do today to screw people over? It's you
Yeah,
will see everything, know everything as much as you want. That's the other thing. It's as much as you want.
yeah.
You know, if you're
And
not going to go look into it or do anything, well, I mean, that's on you then,
well,
right?
that's the
But
thing, is everybody buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve, is a pretty common phrase thrown around in the space. And I mean, you can't really, it's kind of at the price they deserve. Ouch, that hurts. But like, it's true. Like, if you aren't willing to put in the time, then you're not going to reap the reward. It's just, that's kind of how everything works, really. Like, if you don't put in the work, you're not going to get the results.
well, a lot of people who buy Bitcoin also are there just simply for greed, and that's why they end up getting screwed over, right? They
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to buy Bitcoin because it's going to make me loaded. It's not, I'm buying Bitcoin because I don't want to participate in this
Yeah.
bull, the bull BS charade of fiat currency anymore.
Yeah.
And that greed ends up tanking them. They go, oh, I've lost, I put in 20 grand, now I'm down to 5.
Yeah.
Well, if you understood Bitcoin, you'd just hold on to it for another year and you'd have 60.
Well, that's just it. Yeah. Right. Or you put in another 20 grand.
Yeah.
If that's if that's what you're doing, if that's your DCA. But ultimately, yeah, it's not a short-term goal here. We're talking about, generational wealth being able to be accumulated for as little as, like we said, $10,000 today, right? Like, $10,000 today will be able to put your grandkids into anything they want to do, any school they want to go to. I mean, which is kind of funny because they probably won't have to go to a school or won't go to a school, but
no, the school said that's going to be so changed.
Yeah, you don't want like the public school system is just doesn't do anybody any good, really.
No.
There's a few things that benefits that it has, and social skills, structure and stuff like that, but it's really just lining kids up to be factory workers still, and that just doesn't happen here anymore. It doesn't really make any sense. There is more, like, there's a lot of people that are trying to change it, and there's a lot of good things that are being done. It's just happening so slow. And we're starting to finally realize that
trades now.
Well, yeah, it's getting better, because at least they're not like, they're open to different learning. Like, no kid is going to learn the same, right? So they're starting to, okay, and doing more outside activities, more learning about nature, and instead of being in a school, being in a shop, being in a factory, right? The school system that was designed by the Rockefeller Foundation is to create factory workers, and it hasn't really been changed too much, not enough anyways.
No,
so
dude, I would have much rather actually learned how to like start my own garden, feed yourself, learn more about what actually matters in life. And
I think
like being fed kind of,
I think honestly,
we were fed.
Kids should go to school till about age maybe like 14 or 15. That's like it though. Then they should start helping around the house, doing things that need to be done, learning how to garden, learning how to build things, learning how to maintain things, learning how to take care of things. Like, what some people would call chores, I would just call life
and stuff. Just learning how to actually, that's why I left at 16 and went and got a job and said, screw school, I need to be a part of society. Like, I don't understand the point.
The last few years are just like, I also left school early, but I did graduate. I didn't go back. It's so funny. My mom was like, you never went back for your grad pictures. It's like, why would I go back to school for my grad pictures? I was already working. I already had I don't know.
I couldn't. I had a job. That was my thing. I couldn't go back for photos. It was, no, you better be here for work.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was during the day. I don't know. It's just like, I don't understand. And what did you use? Like, I remember we were in grade 10 math together, right?
Something like that.
In Blackwood's class.
Yeah.
So grade 10 math, I do remember being pretty sweet, because there was a lot of graphing calculator things that we did. Remember, we had to have a graphing calculator, and we would do the charting. Like, that was dope. I really enjoyed that. But math after that, 11, I didn't do math in grade 12. And I feel like, I don't know. So like, there you go, 15, right? Grade 10. grade 10, that makes a lot more sense, man. Grade 10 should be the last year. And then after that, you should be, like work experience. You should still
Yes.
definitely fall under like a student type category where you can get cheaper bus pass and other things like that, because you're just being you're like a learner. Like we have drivers, like we have new drivers, we have learner drivers. You could be a learner person.
Yeah,
You're done school, but you're still learning
how to be a part of society and function and do normal things rather than
yeah,
wasting another 7 years in college. Or that'd be amazing.
staying up till 4 a.m. and sleeping till 2 p.m. It's like, holy,
dude. Okay, there's a good one for you. As a garbage man, we obviously start early. I got this one person on the route, comes out, and we're not at their place until 9 o'clock, and she goes, "Oh, sorry, can you go grab my tenant's garbage? He's still sleeping, and he's 21." And I looked at her and I said, "You have a 21-year-old tenant who's still sleeping at 9 o'clock? He can bring his own damn garbage out like he's supposed to."
Yeah.
Like, this is absolutely insane the way you're treating these adults.
Nope.
I'm sorry, 21.
Yeah.
Get your kid's ass up so he can take his
consequences for
curb.
the actions, folks. Got to be consequences.
It's ridiculous with some of this stuff. Oh, well, these excuses and the babying the next generation. Well, I want them to have it easier. No, I want them to struggle to understand what they're working for to prevent from happening.
Yeah, that's true. Often I've heard that from a lot of people, like, "Oh, I would never do this to my kids because I hated it when my dad did this to me," or whatever. And it's like, well, but how did you turn out?
Yeah, do you know?
Of course you hated it. That's the whole point. Like you're gonna hate it. That's how you learn. You don't. If life's a breeze, you don't fucking learn anything, man. You gotta hate it. You gotta hate it to grow. You know what I mean? It's like,
it really is. Yeah, it drives me up the wall. These no consequences. And,
it's crazy.
And I mean, I think times are starting to change, and people are starting to be like, I'm done with this. I'm not putting up with it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm being nice, but it's just being taken advantage of, and everything's being pushed too far.
Well, if it goes too far, it's gonna break, right? So you have to do something about it at some point, or you're going to, face far worse consequences, or somebody will just come in and break it for you, right? But it's like, I always like to look at nature and just kind of, nature will teach you everything you need to know. The mother bird kicks the babies out of the nest, straight kicks them out, right? Do you think a snake enjoys shedding its skin? Think about the few days leading up to the skin's getting tight, and it's like, oh God, this is brutal, right? Like it sucks. It hates it. But it feels so good after it, like, you know what I mean? And same with the baby birds. They get kicked out of their nest. You think they like getting kicked? No, but then they end up flying. Oh my goodness, right? You go through you take the punch in the face, whatever you want to call it, and then you can fly.
Yeah, you don't see 20 years of evolution in those birds where they're building 4 different levels of nests so they can kick them out. Oh, well, the nest is a little lower here, so they won't fall too far. And then they'll move them up to every tier until they can, you don't see that. They kick them out right at the top and go fly. They're not babying these things.
And then that's the thing, though, and that's the result afterwards is that they can fly. Like, imagine how amazing that is, right? Imagine how.
Well, look at how long they've survived, right?
Yeah.
Look at all these animals who are still here, and
nature provides. Nature provides, and people will do with it what they will. But ultimately, the question was for today's episode is, will Bitcoin go up again? What do the charts say? Well, the charts said that it might actually go down in the short term. Or well, in the immediate short term, it's probably going to go up, but then it's probably going to go down again, and then it's going to go up again.
Yeah, we're still in a bear market, but we're in a little bull run, I guess.
Yeah, we're in the bear market, but we're just it's just time for a little bit of a grind up right now. People are talking about the Clarity Act and all that sort of stuff going on with I don't know. I don't even really want to talk too much about it, but like all the war bullshit, it's like, people are forced to have to use Bitcoin. But ultimately, though, even look at this. Like, this is the USDT dominance, and it came up to our green line that we had here, hit our target. at 9.275% and got rejected, and it's been coming down ever since. So this is a daily time frame. Doesn't really, I don't see any signs of bottoming here. This looks like a downtrend. This is probably rejection here for a lower low to continue to come down. Money flow is coming out on the daily. So that just basically in turn looks like Bitcoin is going to continue to go up, maybe down a little bit more, but then ultimately Bitcoin's in an uptrend for the time being. We haven't taken this high out, and we haven't taken this low out, so we're kind of like right in the middle of everything right now.
We've been building quite a bit of liquidity.
Yeah,
actually,
I'd like to see us come down and hold this low, and then that would solidify the uptrend, and then we come up and take this high out and carry on. But yeah, that's short term. Next few days, next couple weeks, potentially Bitcoin down then up, or just up. But then ultimately, once we get up to the 70,000 range up in here, we're looking for rejection, watching money flow, seeing where it's at the time, seeing what's happening. But likely, higher time frames point to one more low. A lot of just fiat statistics and everything else point to one more low for Bitcoin before it's gonna soak up all the liquidity. It'll soak up all the liquidity. And again, with AI, there's a little bit of interesting information going on. Of course, this is kind of what we were talking about in the beginning with the AI. Power demand. It's not going to be an overnight agenda. It's going to take some time. A lot of these companies that are going up in value based on speculation and not on earnings, the P/E ratio is bad. They need to settle down. They are screwing around too much, and they need to settle down. So likely they will. Whether they want to or not doesn't really matter. They will be forced to because of liquidity and because of just any sort of bottleneck when figuring out new technology. It happens. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the memory. We don't have the power. We don't have the batteries, the material. We just don't have all these things where they need to be to continue to sustain and grow, right? And so the speculation is based on growth, but if they can't, if the roots aren't there, the tree ain't going to grow. So you got to let the roots do some growing.
And they got to stop talking about growth. There's got to be growth and then like a sustainability part.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're going to grow this much, and then we're going to sustainably grow a certain amount and keep it, because if you do it the way we are doing it, it's all just going to implode again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Over leverage, greed, and all that type of stuff. It just makes complete sense. So just quick liquidity map here for Bitcoin. Would love to come back down to 61K in here. That would be sweet. A nice sweep of these lows would be amazing. I'll be looking for longs down here. And other than that, it looks like we got a bunch of liquidity up at 67, 68K. If we see some SFPs up there, I will be looking for a short position. However, I will be very, very, hey, whoa, bro. I will be very cautious with the shorts right now because money is flowing up. It looks like the trend wants to be up for a little bit longer. So, yeah, shorting's been okay. I think I've hit almost each one of these that have come, these higher highs. I got at least a little short off of it. And so ideally though, I'd like to come down and hit that and look for a good long, because that would be nice to come down there first and then to go up and then take some of that liquidity above us. Of course, going down first would allow us to build more liquidity up there too. So that would be ideal for trading, but ultimately long term, liquidity is starting to build to the upside. We can see a lot more liquidity accumulating up. So there's not a lot more down below us. So basically at this point, you want to be buying dips, not financial advice, but this is the time to be don't tripping, buying the dipping, and seeing how much Bitcoin can you accumulate, because this window is open now.
Anymore. I trade it.
This window is open now, and it's not going to be open like this for very long. It's going to be, this time next year, we'll be over 100K again. So, you know, do with that what you will.
Oh, we're in a downtrend.
Do with that what you will. Oh, you can't even see the screen.
100K.
Hold on. Let me move AK over here for a sec. There we go.
Here we go.
There we go. So yeah, down in here. Hold on. Come on now. What are you doing?
There's way too much liquidity at the top, so.
Yeah, there we go. So you can see that now. It's a little bit better. Some liquidity down in here, also liquidity up in here, but not a lot down here, more up here. So there's your window, folks. There's your window. Is it going to go up again? Well, most certainly, as long as the central banks continue to print, then yes, most likely it will. Canadian dollar looking like it's wanting to make a little bit of a relief rally, but ultimately, as long as they keep printing like they have been, it's not going to do very well. USDT looks like it's also wanting to come down in turn. Bitcoin could go up. So that's what we're kind of watching here. I don't really like the curvature of this money flow, which for a continuation right away up, it sort of looks like it might want to come down first before moving up. But yeah, ultimately, do your own research, folks, and figure it out, because it could change your life. It could. What else are you going to do, right? What else are you going to do? All right, we've been streaming for an hour, folks. What do the charts say? That's what they say. Hope you had a good time. And remember to do all those fun things like smash and like, and drop a comment on the video after it's said and done. I know no one's commenting on the live yet, but that's fine. Always seem to be a comment or two after the video. So we'll address the comments next time. And with that being said, I wish you well. I wish you wealth. And peace out, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
See you later, man.
Peace. I recommend putting your opinions aside and learning how to think logically